You're going to want to mute that, yeah.
Hello everyone, good afternoon on this beautiful day. We thank you for joining us today for this part 2 of our 3-part series, Successful Aging for Seniors, which is hosted by the Windsor Commission on Aging and the Windsor Senior Center, so thank you for joining us. Commissioner Chairperson Kathy Roby will be providing an introduction for you in just one moment. I do want to mention for those who are joining us on Zoom today that we do ask that you stay muted throughout the program, only because we are also airing this on our Win TV channel and recording it right now. So if you do unmute, it will provide some feedback. So we just want to ask that you please remain muted right now throughout the presentation. Of course, we do encourage questions, and so if you have any questions at all throughout the presentation, you can type those into the chat box, and we will be reading them off, and Krista will be answering questions today as well. So we hope you enjoy this session today. We also have our 3rd session on Wednesday, June 2nd. So if you're interested in joining us for that, check out the newsletter and give us a call. But we hope you enjoyed today's presentation. And so now I'll let Kathy Roby take it away. Have a great day.
Thank you, Rebecca. Good afternoon, everyone. And I really appreciate you taking an hour out of the sunshine to come in and listen to this program. Having personally used these services for my own mother-in-law, and she was able to stay at home for over 2 additional years because of these programs. I'm really glad that you're with us, and I hope you'll tell everyone you know to go online and look at the recording if they've missed today. So that said, I'm very excited to present to you Krista Moreau. She's the Director of Clinical Operations, managing the public programs at Connecticut Community Care. Krista's been with Connecticut Community Care for 12 years. She started as a care manager in 2008. She has a bachelor's degree with a focus in gerontology from St. Joseph University. She enjoys supporting the needs and goals of all Connecticut residents to age well and to enjoy dignity and respect in their place of choice. She's been a caregiver to her own grandfather at home, so she brings personal experience to this, and I'm delighted to have her with us. So enjoy the program, and Krista, take it away.
Thank you so much, Kathy. That was such a warm welcome. I appreciate that. Thank you again. I just wanted to thank the Windsor Senior Center for the opportunity. I think this is an excellent opportunity to share resources and to also learn about everything else that's available to the population. So I do have a PowerPoint today, and I am going to share this so that it can be referenced in the future. There is a lot of information for me to share over the next 20 to 25 minutes, and I don't expect everybody to be able to digest all of that. So give me one moment to share my screen. Okay. Okay, so I just wanted to spend the first moment introducing who Connecticut Community Care is. We have been in the state serving people of all ages for the last 40 years. So we feel in some sense that we are one of the best kept secrets because there are a lot of people that don't know about who we are. So we are here to make sure that we get you all of the information about the programs that we manage for the Department of Social Services, as well as other ways to get yourself involved with caregiver support or client services as necessary. So our mission statement is Connecticut Community Care helps identify choices and provide services to people of all ages, abilities, and incomes in order to live at home. And as you heard Kathy introduce this program, it is our goal to allow for people to live at home independently as possible with supports in order to avoid institutionalization or nursing home placement. At the current moment, CCCI services an average of 15,000 clients per year across all of our programs. So we're really proud of that number, and we hope that continues to grow. We are a contracted agency with the Department of Social Services to manage their and operationalize several of their DSS waivers and public programs. So what that means is we are not directly employees of the state. We are contracted to manage their programs for them. We also manage a private care management division, and we're involved in other coalitions as well that I'll identify a little later in the presentation. I've listed the website here. It is connecticutcommunitycare.org, and you should certainly feel free to check in on that website anytime, because it will provide more information on the programs as well as how to apply or get in contact with us by phone. So I want to discuss first the 3 waiver programs that are something clients can access and how you qualify for those. A DSS waiver basically is a setup for people that are eligible for Medicaid to access services and remain at home. It is done this way because it is far more cost effective to receive services in the home through Medicaid than it is to be in a nursing facility, as nursing facility cost now is upwards of $15,000 a month. Our average highest care plan is somewhere around $5,000 a month. The Connecticut Home Care Program for Elders is a program for people that are 65 and older and also Connecticut residents, and they need to be eligible for Medicaid, or they can have a higher income and potentially have a small cost sharing related piece to the program in order to qualify. Under this program, there are a vast array of services. So it goes anywhere from a basic homemaker to help cleaning if someone is struggling with that, to prepare meals, all the way to personal care type services and 24-hour live-in care. There are other additional services such as assistive technology or home modifications, such as adding a ramp to someone's home that people can access. The next program is the Personal Care Attendant Waiver, or the PCA waiver, and that is for people who are 18 to 64, have a disability, are Connecticut residents, and they must be eligible for Medicaid. This program, the scope of services is largely centered around having a personal care attendant meaning needing help with basic activities of daily living, and the person generally self-directs their care. When I say self-direction, that means they or a representative need to be able to manage, hire, and sort of maintain their staff versus having an agency involved to do that for them. The third waiver that we manage is the acquired brain injury waiver. And this is for individuals 18 to 64 who are Connecticut residents, have a traumatic or acquired brain injury, and must be Medicaid eligible. On this program, the service is very structured in a team approach where the client drives what services they want rather than someone electing services for them. And it's extremely goal-driven in helping people reestablish themselves after a brain injury, rehabilitate where possible, and maintain an independent level as much as possible. You work with a rehabilitation team as well as a cognitive behaviorist, so it's a really holistic approach to addressing services needed for someone that may have had an acquired brain injury. One point I want to make before I move on is that many of you may be thinking about Medicaid, meaning a client that is extremely low income and limited. With the waivers, one of the things that is set up is the income limit for normal community Medicaid is waived. So that normal limit is somewhere under $900 a month, and you can still qualify with these programs with upwards of $2,000 a month in income. So if you are thinking about having someone apply and you're concerned about whether or not they will meet the Medicaid qualifications, we encourage you to have them apply because there are leniencies with this program to allow for more people to access these important services. Other programs that we manage are Money Follows the Person, or MFP. This is a program that transitions clients out of nursing facilities or other long-term care settings back into the community. They must have been in a facility for 60 days and be Medicaid eligible, but it really addresses clients who are in facilities due to an injury or a rehabilitation and still have the interest in going back to living in the community. Any person on Money Follows the Person is aligned with one of the waivers I've already spoken of, along with a few other options, and then are maintained on that waiver after 365 days. One of the benefits of Money Follows the Person is that individuals are connected to transitional support as well as housing support. So what this means is they will have another person beyond a care manager to assist them with the transition, moving them back into a home, setting up utilities, as well as a housing specialist who will help find them either an apartment or a home that suits their needs back in the community. Community First Choice is another program that we manage, and it is really an entitlement for a person who is active on Medicaid as a benefit. Okay, so I called it a program, but quite frankly, it's similar to the way you can access visiting nurse services under Medicare as a benefit after you've maybe had a hospitalization stay. Community First Choice is a benefit of Medicaid, and it allows participants to be able to access personal care attendant services and other services without necessarily needing case management. So if someone just wants services in their home and doesn't feel that they need ongoing social service type support, they can access that through Community First Choice. The other really good thing about that is there is no age requirement for Community First Choice. So this can really be from infants all the way up to the age spectrum of being an elder adult. For the public programs, each client is evaluated using a universal assessment. And that is a tool that DSS helped create to allow for everyone to be assessed fairly and equitably. So therefore, for anyone that may think that you have someone that would be interested in the program, an assessment is at no cost to an individual. It is an opportunity for us to look at that person's scenario and determine what they may qualify for. One of the qualifications that is pretty standard across the programs is that they must meet nursing home level of care as determined by needing support with activities of daily living. So activities of daily living, for those that are not aware, include bathing, dressing, transferring, toileting, eating, or feeding. So if you have someone in mind, think about if they need any type of assistance at all with one or more of those ADLs, and that would be a precursor for assuming they may qualify. The universal assessment is a detailed tool that allows us to capture information, and at the end provides us a budget that we use to create a care plan for that person. So at the end of the assessment, we will spend time with that participant and their elected supporters to discuss what services they would be interested in and allow for that to be established within the budget that the tool provides. Care management services are a service across all programs except for Community First Choice. So that is a service that comes along with the programs for us to be able to monitor how you are doing over time and evaluate on a regular basis, annually or biannually, if there need to be changes to that care plan. If there are hospitalizations, we will provide assistance to have you return home, among other things. And it allows us to see that the care plan is effective and that you are satisfied with the services you're receiving. There was a request for this presentation to spotlight the service called Adult Family Living. This has been a newer service that has been around since, I want to say, about 2015. And it is a service that allows for family or informal caregivers to be paid to provide care for someone they may or may not already be providing care for on an in-kind basis. There are a few regulations around this program, but it really is a fantastic service, as there is a lot of trust, obviously, between family or informal supporters in providing care. And it is nice to be able to reimburse caregivers and provide funding to them for something they may already be doing. The rules and regulations around this are that you must reside in the same residence as the client. Okay, so you can't, even to living in an apartment in an upstairs building and a downstairs building, you must reside within the same home. You must also be able to provide personal care or supportive services to the client on an ongoing basis, up to 24-hour care if needed. And you must be 18 years of age or older and cannot be a legally liable relative, which is defined as a spouse by state law. So in a lot of cases, this is a family's daughter, this may be a niece, this may be a cousin, providing care for the client on the program. Adult family living does include respite support for the caregiver. So this means that on a regular basis, they can receive other caregivers to come in and assist to allow for them to have breaks. And it also is paid through a tax-free stipend that is dependent on the level of care. So there are 3 to 4 tiers of care for adult family living, and that is determined in the assessment to determine what that caregiver will be paid. This is a service that is available under the Connecticut Home Care Program and the PCA waiver and MFP if they are targeted for those programs. Other initiatives, coalitions, and collectives that CCC are involved in. We do have a private care and management associates at Connecticut Community Care. This is specifically for people who may not qualify for a waiver but are still looking for services or need support. They can access care management, care planning, assistance with doctor's appointments, pretty much an a la carte list of things that we will assist with at a private care management rate. We're also a member of the Connecticut Healthy Living Collective, and their website is full of resources if you have not been there in the past. It's a collective with a common goal of getting Connecticut residents easy access to programs, services, and promoting healthy aging and social connections. So this is a group at large who are looking to assist with people getting access to these particular resources. Within the Connecticut Healthy Living Collective, you can find information on their Live Well and Aging Mastery programs. These are excellent educational resources for people that are looking to build independence and self-management of chronic diseases, diabetes, chronic pain, and more. I also was on this website recently and saw that there is a balance class that is being offered, as well as information on the LGBT Movable Senior Center. So these are all excellent resources for anybody that's looking for options to help people maintain their independence. So for the most part, that is the presentation. As I explained earlier, I will share this PowerPoint. I also have a guide that specifies in more detail how to be eligible for the specific waivers, and that can also be shared. But I wanted to make sure we left enough time for questions, so I'll defer if there are any of those in the chat.
Not just yet, so we'll give a few seconds in case anyone wants to type in now.
Okay, so we'll just wait a few minutes to see if anyone has questions.
Can we talk a little bit about if someone wanted to apply while the family member's in the hospital? They don't need to go home first, or do they need to go to the facility first?
Yep, so a question was just received about whether or not someone can apply for programs and be in the hospital or in another facility. And the answer to that is they can be in any location that they need to be in with the intent to return home, and we will assist with that. So it's a very important request to clarify, because we will go into a hospital and do an assessment there with you and assist to have you return home. The same with a skilled nursing facility or a rehab center. We will also do assessments in assisted living settings, rest homes. So really there is not too much limitation on that. The other thing to clarify is we will always assess for multiple programs. So if you have interest in one program but it doesn't turn out that you would be qualified, we will clarify for you at that assessment if you are eligible for another program to allow for you to access any benefit that we can provide to you.
Would an assisted living be considered a place
Yes, an assisted living is a place of residence. Assisted livings, depending on the situation, there are demonstration assisted livings where we do not provide additional services. We do an assessment for the assisted living to provide those services, but there are several other private or congregate settings where we can supplement what an assisted living may provide. So for example, if there is a nurse on staff or obviously a congregate meal site on staff, those services would be provided by the assisted living. But we could supplement that with personal care attendants, companions, things like that.
Can you explain a little further about some of the services that would be covered? People tend to assume a nurse, a personal care aide for their hygiene, but it's the other things like Lifeline or meals that people would not ordinarily assume would be covered, and if you could explain that a little bit.
Sure. So the question is, can I explain some of the array of services? So largely the Connecticut home care program, as I've mentioned, has the largest array of services available, and that scope is quite large. So Kathy's point was just that a lot of people are familiar with like a visiting nurse, a home health aide, but Lifeline is a covered service that you may see a lot of people in the community feel like they have to privately pay for. Many of the Lifeline units now come with a medication dispenser, which allows for sometimes up to 21 days of medications to be inputted and allow for someone to really be compliant with their medications through technology. So that is an excellent resource. There is also still like adult day center programs. So certainly coming into a setting, if somebody needs supervision during the day, coming into a setting like this is a covered service. Getting things like walkers, canes, computers, should there be a need, all kinds of assistive technology that someone may need to thrive in their home at our services. Transportation is a service if that is something that is needed to doctor's appointments. Home delivered meals, I think I had said that one. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. There's a very large scope. So certainly something that we could do if there was interest later on is provide a list of the services that may be something someone could access that could be shared. But again, that is also shared as a part of the assessment process. So if there aren't any further questions.
Thank you, Krista.
Thank you.
I've enjoyed having you with us, and I do want to say before we close that having had personal experience with this process, we made our first call when a family member was still in the hospital having had a small stroke, and we were frantically concerned. She wanted to go home. And so the first meeting we had with the worker that was assigned to her really involved the explanation that Krista just gave you. All the different things that could have been put in place to help this woman go back to the little house she loved so much. And at the end of that meeting, and maybe a couple of days later, a plan was in place. And for the first week, she had someone living in that dropped down to 2 or 3 times a day for a couple of hours, dropped down to an hour and a half twice a day, and she stayed in her home with a nurse coming in once a month to make sure she was all okay, and she had her Lifeline, she had her homemaker companion who did her groceries, did her laundry, gave her breakfast and a bath every morning, set her up for her lunch, and then came back in the evening. And it was an absolute miracle. 2 full years when they told us she would never be able to go home. So if you know someone, please take Krista's advice. Pick up the phone, make a call, because it will make an enormous difference in someone's life. We saw it happen. I guarantee you it does work. Thank you so much for being with us, and thank you, Krista.
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye now.
Okay?
Yeah?
Yay. I couldn't resist.
We did it.
It was just, to watch what you did for Florence, who was one of the most disagreeable women I've
Oh.
ever met in my life.
Well,
But she absolutely fell in love with the homemaker companion she had.
that's wonderful. It's so great when we have a good match right off the bat.